Hi, Shabbat Tov, everybody. As you can see, I've got some meat here, getting ready for a Sudar B'it, a Motzei Shabbat meal. And I'm going to relate over the series of the Shabbat stories. It's the second episode. I've had a bit of a delay because I was in England during Sukkot and with the conflict that has happened here in Israel. But I can continue now this series, relating over the importance of having a Melava Malka, a Sudar B'it, on Motzei Shabbat, known as a fourth meal in English. We know that on Shabbat itself, we have three meals. We have on the Friday night, we have on the Saturday morning, and also the Su'udah Shlishit in Shabbat afternoon, also just before Shabbat goes out. However, one thing some people might not be aware of is that it's important on Saturday night, on the Motzei Shabbat, to have something called a Melava Malka, a Sudar B'it, and something very, very lavish. And it's illustrated, famous story, Shabbat story, which you would see in many of the kids' books, many of the classic books, with regards to Rabbi Abuhu. I believe it's in the Talmud. What happened here, friends? He, every week, he would buy different animals, egels as they call it, different young cows, different kosher animals, and would shecht it, slaughter it, and would have a very, very, very lavish meal on the Motzei Shabbat, the finest meal, because when, as just Shabbat comes in, you have something spectacular. Also, when Shabbat comes out, your neshama needs, your soul needs something spectacular, also to depart the extra neshama yetara after Shabbat comes out. So one week, after every week, he's buying like a very, very an animal to have a very, very lavish meal. He would shecht it and cook it and eat it. One week his son comes up to him and approaches him and says, Father, you've got these expensive meals. Maybe let's just leave this for Shabbat. We're going to cook this on the Thursday and we'll just eat this on Shabbat. On the Motzei Shabbat, so we can have something a bit more simple this week. We'll got another, let's say, a thinner animal, egel, they called it over in the Talmud. We're going to shecht this one. We'll use this specific smaller animal, egel, and we're going to have this instead. So he says, you know what? He rationalizes, and the Yitzhak comes in and says, maybe we don't need such a fancy meal for the Shabbat itself. We'll have this simple egel instead. So he buys that and puts over this other animal, this lavish animal, which was this lavish potential food for the Shabbat itself. And Motzei Shabbat, have something more simple to save a bit of money. However, what happened was shortly afterwards that week, and a lion came. And actually, that animal that was left over for the Shabbat itself, which he would have ate on the Motzei Shabbat, the lion came and devoured it, killed it, ate it. And now this meal has gone. So it illustrated a story at the end that because he did not leave that animal so that he could shecht it on the Motzei Shabbat so he can have a spectacular Sudar B'it, retribution was that because he said he wanted to rationalize and make something cheaper from the costs that he might have had. He has a bigger sum of money. He could have had something spectacular, and he was rationalizing, saying, let's be economical. This punishment came upon him where the lion actually ate that specific animal, and he couldn't shecht that afterwards and cook it, kasher it, and have that lavish meal on Motzei Shabbat, and would have something a bit more meaningful. So he illustrated to his son at the end that just as we have the finest food on Shabbat itself with the Shabbat meals, we should also have on the Sudar B'it something spectacular, something extra nice. So that's a story illustrated with regards to the importance of having a nice meal. Guys, what do you recommend? Steak tonight? There's some egel. This might take a bit of time to do for us. Some people could have a fancy pizza or whatever it might be. Nice pasta. Everyone will have their different foods, and which is very much recommended. Personally, I love steak. And hope you all had the Shabbat here from Israel. At the moment, we've had a quieter Shabbat. You can hear the noise going on in the sky and everything else. May Hashem keep all our precious